If you're not careful, you live in a constant state of anxiety, on the edge, worried about stuff. My biggest regret at 55 is all the things I worried about between 25 and 55. 85% of them never happen. But it doesn't matter that it doesn't happen if it steals your joy, if it robs you of your peace, if it stops you from celebrating the moments that God has given you. Because some people can't enjoy where they are for worrying about where they're going. It might be dark for you right now, but it's not over. You might be going through a season of the absence of a thing that you legitimately need, but it ain't over. You may have to function for a while without the absence of the thing you adore, but it's not over. You might have to go without what your neighbors have, but it's not over. For somebody struggling just to keep your head above water, you're smiling just to keep from crying. You're doing the best you can, but you put 1 foot forward and 2 steps are made back. You're trying, but things don't seem to be quite working out the way you planned. You thought you'd be in a different place at this season in your life. You're doing everything right, but you're still suffering. You see, to be anxious is to have anxiety over a threat that has not been executed. Just worried about stuff that hadn't happened. I'm under threat, and life is a threat. Full of threats.
Life is a fight for territory. And once you start fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over.
To really be able to persevere in times of trial and fiery difficulty.
I'm telling you right now, if you are going to birth your dream, your passion, and the second half of your life, you can't draw back when life gets tough. You've got to stand up to it and push. We have 1,000 reasons every day to have anxiety. The psychologist says that anxiety is like a pilot flying a plane, looking at all of the various gauges before him and not understanding that the gauges are incorrect. It makes you think that you're flying lower than you are, that you're closer to destruction than you are, and you're reacting to the gauges as if you were about to crash, never realizing that anxiety breaks your gauges and you cannot trust your own senses. You can't trust your gauges, but you will get there. You may go through some stuff, but you will get there. You may be betrayed, but you will get there. You may even be delayed, but you will get there.
Life is difficult, and a resilient person is capable of standing up to things in the face of fear and moving forward voluntarily, convinced of their own competence and ability to prevail.
But not enough people are willing to build that mental, emotional toughness. And the moment they do, they'll persevere.
You face yourself, you realize you want to be better, you realize you don't want to be this weak, insecure person in the world who has all these problems that we all have. We all have. Spend time with yourself. Trust me. And once you find that passion and that purpose, your goals, your purpose, everything will just start lining up. And then you'll find the courage to start that journey from that 20 to 100.
Zig said most people in a fearful situation, they forget everything and run. But there are a small number, the road to life is straight and narrow, a few there be that find it, who face everything and rise. He said if the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. And so when you say dream big, that's major. One, there's power in pursuit, because as Jim Rohn said, it's not the accomplishment of the goal that matters. It's what you become in pursuit of the dream in the process. Because when you have a big dream, it will introduce you to a part of yourself that you don't know right now, that you will never discover in your comfort zone. Because in order to achieve that dream, you've got to die to who you are now. I must die daily. You must die to who you are now to give birth to who you are to become. I believe that all of us have stories of greatness.
When trials and difficulties come, when your health starts to fail, when your children break your heart, when persecution comes just because you're trying to do the right thing, when difficulties, tough times, hard days, long nights, it is then that your faith kicks in to let you know that he's a very present help.
Everything starts out good. And as long as it stays good, you don't know what you got. You don't know what you can do. You don't know what you can stand. You can't rely on a fair weather relationship. You don't even know who you married to until all hell breaks loose. When the lightning is flashing and the thunder is raging and we're downsizing and we got to move into what looks like a closet, you don't know what you got until the storm breaks loose. It is the storm that defines character. It is how we react to the crisis that proves the depth of our relationship. If you just keep up your defense, you may rock a little bit. You may shake a little bit. You may have to buckle up. But you will get through this. But if you forsake the posture of protection and panic up under the threat of assault, then the enemy gets territory that he would never have because you relinquished your position.
There's something that you could do, that you could think in your life that would radically change your life. Somebody could take the hand you've been dealt and win with it. Same circumstances, same ideas. They would do it through what they thought about your life. But we don't need somebody, because we got you.
Discipline requires that you hold your position even when you're under fire. You can't speak peace outwardly if you have turmoil inwardly. If as long as you got peace on the inside, hell can be breaking loose on the outside. And you can speak out what you hold in. The worst storm in the world is not the one on the outside, but when it gets on the inside, you cannot speak what you do not have. A ship never goes down because the water is around it. It doesn't matter how much water is around it. It was designed to sail on top of the water. And as long as the storm is on the outside, the ship can sail through anything.
Don't look at it and say, why me? Look at it and say, why not you? And just get up and put one foot in front of the other and use your situation to add value to the world. The quicker you shift your perspective to add value to the world, the quicker you'll get your situation and your circumstance.
Learn how to handle the winters. Just the winters of the calendar in the last 12 years, how many winters? About 12. But it's not just the winters of the calendar, it's not just the winters of the season. There's all kinds of winters. The winter when you have all kinds of hecklers on a telephone call. The winter when you can't figure it out. The winter when it all goes wrong. Right? The winter when you get that first half dozen refunds. The winters of your life. Social winters. Political winters that we're going through around the world. The economic winters that a lot of people are experiencing these days. Personal winters when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long. It is simply called winter time. But here's what you've got to do in your own personal development, your own personal growth, and that is just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the winter. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself.
Never say, I don't know what it is that I got. What's most important, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Commit yourself to do that which is in your heart. You were not born to work for a living, but to live your making. And living your making will make your living. We get paid to work on a job. That's what we get paid for. But your calling is something you're made for. What is it that you would do free? Something that you love it so much, you do it for free, and you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. That's your dream. That's your superpower.
You can get wiser and stronger and better. Wiser, stronger, better. Go home smarter than you came. Go home with more ideas than you came with. Next, get stronger. You can develop the muscle. You can develop the courage muscle. You can develop the inspiration muscle. You can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger. There isn't anybody here that can't get stronger. Next time we see you, may not even recognize you. How strong you're going to be able to become in language, in style, in personality, the ability to cope, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what happens. And the third one is get better. We can all get better. I've gotten better. First talk I gave, I stood up, my mind sat back down. But here's the secret to my success. I stood up and did it again. Stood up and I did it again. And I did it again, and I did it again all those many years ago. I did it when I was scared, and I did it when I didn't want to, and I did it when I was ill. And I did it when it didn't work well, and I did it when they didn't appreciate it. I just did it anyway. And now all these years later, I got better. I got better day by day and week by week and month by month. And I'm asking you to do the same thing until you can develop a long arm and a long reach. Until you can develop influence that won't quit. Touch people next year you couldn't touch this year. Touch people now you couldn't touch before. Conduct a meeting now you couldn't conduct before. Heart and soul now mixed in there that wasn't there, missing before. I'm asking all of you to get better in spite of the winters, in spite of the downturn. The money downturn, the social downturn, the personal downturn, whatever it is. Just get stronger. Get better. We've all got those personal winters. We know what those are like. Barbara Streisand sings, it used to be so natural to talk about forever, but used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away. You don't sing me love songs. You don't say you need me. And you don't bring me flowers anymore. A winter song. But hey, we're acquainted with all those personal winters, all the rest of it. The key is not to wish for a better winter. The key is to wish for more strength, more wisdom, more courage, get better, get wiser, get stronger.
And do that. Because if it's something that resonates with you, it's something that's in your heart, where your heart is, there your treasure is also. Remember A.L. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do. We always go all in on something that we love. What's in your heart? Because where your heart is, there your treasure is also. In my book, I say, live a heart-centered life.
So as long as peace guards your heart and your mind, your life can go through anything. As long as you don't get so caught up in your swing, in your business, in your dream, in your hope, in your potentials, that you drop your guard. Stand right still. Steady yourself. Take control of the situation. No matter what you read, or what you heard, or what they say, or what they do. Don't drop your guard. You can make it through anything as long as you don't drop your guard.
Your scripture, here's what he said. I fought a good fight.
See, that's extraordinary to be able to say. I fought for my kids, and I fought for what was right, and I fought for my good health, and I fought to protect my company, and I fought for a good career that would bless my family. I fought a good fight. It's good to fight. The encroachment. Opposites are in conflict, and we're in the middle. And if you want something valuable, you got to fight for it. Then this writer also said, not only have I fought a good fight, and I'll finish with this, and I got a much longer list, but maybe I can cover these at another time. He said, I fought a good fight, and I kept the faith. See, that's the deal. Keep faith with your family. Fight like crazy and keep faith. Fight the enemy and keep faith. Fight illness and keep faith.
Everybody doesn't want what you want. The question is, are you prepared to get what it is that you want? Are you prepared to make the sacrifices? Do you understand what that really means?
That's why there's an Old Testament phrase that gives the best advice for human activity when it says, 6 days labor, 1 day rest.
And the way I get them to break their slump, not correcting their swing or getting them positive, it's getting them to acknowledge the small promises, showing up to batting practice early, hitting that extra bucket of balls, beginning to reward themselves for the extra promises they keep to themselves, puts them back in a state of self-confidence. All of a sudden, they're hitting the ball great.
Each of us needs to be the source of our own inspiration. Life's too short, and there's too much we want to accomplish to constantly be running back to books, seminars, CD or downloads to reinforce to ourselves that we can accomplish what we set our minds and hearts to. If you're a lawyer reading this book, you've already accomplished a lot. College, law school, bar exam, job, you've already done a lot. Reflect on these past successes as you work toward new ones.
Or are you going to just be complacent? And this is the time for you to recognize the truth. This is the time for you to wake up and realize that there's something that you need to be doing. But you don't need to be doing excuses. You don't need to be so complacent and lazy about what it is that you are constantly going through in your life and giving your life less than giving your life more. Why do you socialize yourself with excuses? Why do you socialize yourself with misery? Why do you socialize yourself with being complacent? What are you afraid of? Oh, I get it. You're afraid to fail. You're afraid to go back. No one said you had to go back. All you got to do is keep pushing forward. You may fall a few times. You may slip a few times.
Now, I'm sure we've taken that to mean don't work all 7 days. Take one off. Here's what it also means. Only take one off. Or you're liable to lose the war. Enterprise is better than ease. If you rest too long, the jungle overtakes the village. Now here's the good news about the war between good and evil. Evil is no match for good, but good must be active. Weeds are no match for human activity, but if you stand still, how far in will they come? All the way. They'll grow right up around your shoes.
But that doesn't mean you quit. That doesn't mean you give up. That means you must find a way and you must make a way, and you got to continue to dig deeper than you've ever digged in your life. Enough is enough. Enough with the excuses. Enough for being complacent. Enough for giving up. This is the time to recognize your purpose. This is the time for you to recognize your truth and make the most of your life. And if you're not willing to do that, then nothing's going to happen for you. Nothing is going to give you that true opportunity to be the best of yourself. This is not a game, ladies and gentlemen. This is a reality check. Ask yourself, how far have you gone? How much have you given of yourself? Why do you wake up every morning with the same excuse? Why do you wake up every morning saying the same thing over and over again? Why do you feel you need that cup of coffee to start your day?
Why do you feel you need to depend on your alarm clock to get up?
But if you get busy, how far back can you take them? As far as you wish. They're no match, but you must be active. That's why the 6 and 1. Make sure you're not losing the war by taking off too much. Guess what the average years are after retirement? 6. 6. Which means don't retire. Your chances are too slim. Okay. The war between good and evil, the weeds. You got to make sure you recognize the negative, handle it, deal with it, and then go on. Let's make a list of the diseases of attitude that can wreck all your chances to do well. One of the words that destroys everything is called neglect.
If you stumbled along the way, fall on your face, you've managed to get up and move forward. Win, lose, or draw, you're still at it. You're still getting up every one morning and facing the day. Life hasn't gotten messy. Focus on what you've done. You've done it before you can do it. Again, even if you're facing different challenges, bigger challenges, you have the talent and passions and dreams. Find where they intersect and create a plan to leverage them.
And I believe the solution to self-doubt is to build something bigger than that doubt, which is to build our self-confidence. And one thing to know about the fact that you doubt yourself is, one, I struggle with it as well. One of the reasons I've had to go learn to build all these tools for myself is because in my life, my baseball career, my academic career, my business career, my speaking career, I've been riddled with self-doubt. That creeps up all the time in our lives. Am I enough? Am I good enough? Do I deserve this? Is this something that's part of my destiny? Should I be doing this? And if you're a religious person, I believe the adversary, if you believe in the adversary, I believe the adversary's greatest tool that he could use against you to get you to lose in your life is to get you discouraged and doubting.
I went into the workforce. My dad thought for sure that having me do essentially menial labor jobs would teach me that I didn't want to do that, but it also made me sort of numb to that kind of work. And so I worked in a paint factory, I worked in a door factory, I worked in a paint warehouse, a paint store. My dad happened to work for a paint company, hence the theme. And I was too lazy to go get a different job. And so I literally just always took whatever was before me. But I had this sense that I could do more, that I could be more, that there was something that I was meant to do. I didn't know what that was exactly. I had a love for filmmaking, to be sure, and I've had that love since I was a little kid, but I had no idea how that was going to play itself out. Now, the irony of my life is when I went to leave for college, I almost chickened out. In fact, I did chicken out, and the only reason that I ended up going to college was my mom forced me to.
Most of us have one or more favorite teams, collegiate and professional. Most of us have athletics we follow and cheer for. Some of us, even at my age, seek glory on the field or court. Maybe it's the immediacy of victory. You play and you win or lose. Maybe it's having fans watch and scream for you. For some of us, even though our athletic days are behind us, we try to have that dream live on through our children.
These are two of the most chaotic things that the adversary can do to us, or that we do to ourselves in our own minds, is to get ourselves doubting, to get ourselves discouraged, because you can't win when you doubt and you can't win when you're discouraged. What I found out, though, about self-doubt is that you don't overcome it, you build something bigger than it, which means you build your self-confidence, and the greater and greater your self-confidence get, it minimizes the impact self-doubt has on us. Now, why is that so important? It's important because you have to understand one thing about the doubts and the negative thoughts you have about yourself. As hard as this is to accept, these are not your thoughts. You weren't born doubting. You weren't born discouraged. You weren't born thinking negative things about yourself. Those were thoughts that were placed in you and given to you by an external source at some time in your life. It could even be our parents. Don't do that. Be quiet. Sit down. Be a good boy. Be a good girl. Maybe it was criticism you received as a little one.
And I was having this moment of crisis. There was only me and one other kid that was leaving the state from my high school. Everybody else went to a state school. Everybody stayed together. It was that familiarity and living essentially a small life. And that sounded really enticing at the prospect that I was about to move away. And so I said to my mom, you know what, look, let's just forget all this. Let's call it off. It's going to be really expensive. I'll just stay here. And my mom was like, over my dead body. And she pushed so hard to get me out. But then every day since then, my mom has tried to get me back. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're the reason I left. I never would have left if it wasn't for you. So I literally don't understand. And in that moment, my mom gave me the greatest gift anyone could have ever given me, because my mom supported me. She was my biggest cheerleader. But when I asked her why she pushed me so hard to leave for college, her answer, totally without malice, was, I always assumed you were going to fail.
He identified your dreams, identified your passions. They're interrelated but distinct. A dream is something you want to accomplish. It's bigger than life. It requires talent, hard work, dedication. It also requires passion. Passion is what gets you out of the bed earlier than most to prepare for a marathon. Write a book like this, go to night school for another degree, and any host of other tasks that require drive, grit, and heart.
Part of what feeds that hunger. You've got to develop a sense of urgency. Aurelia said, stop living your life like you have 1,000 years to live. In life, you're either here today and you're gone today. If there's something that you want to do and you can't do it all at one time, do just a little bit of it. I like what Robert Schuller says. He said, by the yard it's hard, but inch by inch, anything is a cinch. Do just a little bit of it. A friend of mine, Bobby Kerr, used to be a roommate. Bobby wanted to go into the area of public relations. He loved working with the public. Young lady he wanted to marry named Clarice. Bobby was a great procrastinator. Pretty soon the job where Bobby worked, they transferred him to another location. He went out to celebrate with the people on that new job site. And Bobby suffered a massive heart attack and died. Bobby didn't drink and didn't smoke, was under 40, and he died. Ask your question, how much time do you have left? How much time do you have left? When you start thinking about that, we don't know. We don't know. Bobby took all the greatness and all of the talent and all of his abilities to his grave with him. One of the things he could have put in parentheses under his name, he didn't use all his stuff. And most of us do that. Most of us don't use the stuff that we have brought into the universe. And we want to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to start living life with a sense of urgency and using what we've got, using ourselves up, sharing what we brought into the universe to share. Because if we don't, nobody else will. Stop wasting valuable time, knowing that if we begin to live our lives as if each day were our last, our lives will take on a whole new meaning. It take on a whole new expression, valuing each moment that we are blessed with.
So many questions are not a matter of morality. It's a question of being careless or careful, being cautious rather than reckless, but not too cautious. So it's kind of an interesting challenge. If you were so cautious driving on a two-way highway, every time a car came your way, you were troubled about thinking whether or not he was going to stay on his side of the line, that you pulled off the road, wait for him to pass, then got back on the road and continued your journey. We would call that a bit too cautious. It may take you 2 or 3 days to get to your destination. So you say somehow when the traffic's coming your way on a two-way highway, you must trust at least the law of averages that says I have a pretty good chance of arriving, even though there's not a guarantee that 1 out of 1,000 coming my way, I'll cross the line and it'll be the end. So we do have to be cautious but not too cautious and let those daily experiences lead us into a better life, a better month, a better year. I arrived on an airplane flight once and the flight attendant came on and said, ladies and gentlemen, you have now completed the safest part of your journey. From now on, it gets dangerous. Fasten your seatbelt. I thought that was interesting. You've now completed the safest part of your journey. According to statistics, for the miles covered, it's the safest way to go.
The thing that grinds my gears is when you see people, like people tend to complain and not appreciate things until they almost lose them. Or when you see somebody, they show up in an environment and they count the hours and they don't make the hours count. Or you see people and they don't realize somebody that woke up this morning, they're not going to live to see the night. Right? You see it all around. Life is happening. Adversity is happening. And you see people that just walk around and because of success, they feel as if I can't get touched. Right? They feel as if nothing can happen to me. And I told a kid, son, wake up call. Newsflash, life touches everybody. My grandmother told it to me this way. Inky, either you're in the midst of adversity, just came out of adversity, or you're about to head into some adversity. So you better be prepared for it either way. I want to be a great man. I want to be a great father for my children. I want to be a great husband for my wife. I want to be a great servant in the world. I don't want when adversity or rain comes, I'm the guy, I was great before the adversity, but the moment the adversity hit, I never turned back to true form. I don't want to be that person that's great when everything is going all good, but when something goes wrong, they flee and they want nothing to do with it. I want to be that person that's going to show up rain, sleet, or snow, and they're going to give you everything they got. Right? Because character is not something we inherit. Character is something we got to wake up every single day. We got to fight and we got to build it. Right? In the midst of adversity, in the midst of challenges, in the midst of successes, in the midst of failures, we got to get up every single day. And we got to fight for peace. Right? We got to fight for happiness. We got to fight for joy. Like I told a guy, I said, you think life just going to give you happiness on a platter and say, I heard you wanted to be happy. Here you go. FedEx package overnight. No. We got to get up. We got to fight for that. Right? We got to fight for joy. We got to fight for peace. Right? The worst thing in the world is when you see somebody that's amazing, like talented, skill set out of this world, and they don't have any passion. Life has robbed them. Right? They're a walking zombie. Right? They're just a shell. They get up, they go to work, they do what they do, they come back home, wake up the next day, repeat, do it all over again.
Life is cyclic. It's like a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go well, sometimes they don't go so well. So this is a period. This is a new season. Listen here. This is a new season in your life, in my life, in our life. And now we want to work. You want to work your gift. Not just be a part of somebody else's dream, but this is a time to think and come up with some new ideas. What is it that you're going to do now in this new place, in this new season? It's very important. Your ability to make a point, the ability to influence people, the ability to make a greater impact. In the beginning was the Word. The Word is powerful. Develop your mind. Young man, be mindful of who you're around. Young man, once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are.
To have the audacity to be bold, that makes us different. That's what makes us different. I'm not talking from anything but passion for you to be the best version of you that you can be. That's it. That's literally it. I just want everybody in this room to win. And I know the only thing that I know right now on my journey is that if you have the ability to tell your story with passion, to inform the mind and inspire the hearts of the people around you, if you know your story well, I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what adversities you've been through. I don't care how strong your accent is. I don't care how many degrees you have or don't have. I don't care how many marks society has put on you because maybe you're a single parent or maybe you have this, maybe you have that, maybe you don't come from much. That all goes to waste when you know how to tell your story. I'm walking proof.
This is a time to be excited. This is a time to get with some people that you know that's going in the direction of where you're going, that's grateful that they're still here because of God's grace and mercy, and to brainstorm about what we are going to do next. We got to be grateful and celebrate and have a spirit of gratitude that we are still here.
I spent 50 occasions with John over a period of 2 years. 49 of those I walk away from and I go like, oh my God, that was exhausting. It's safe for me to evaluate that John is an energy vampire. Okay. Then there are two types of energy vampire. The next question is, are they a transient energy vampire or inherently an energy vampire? Right? What's a transient energy vampire? Just say John is going through a hard time in life because his dad is dying of cancer, for example. And for 3 years, he consumes a lot of energy. You know, he's always down, you need to uplift him, he's feeling very sad. It's okay. You give him that energy because he's your friend, and that's what we do. We express compassion, empathy, and love, and we support our friends during difficult times. What's someone who's inherently an energy vampire? Someone who's inherently an energy vampire has always been this way. For decades, they just haven't changed. They're just not an uplifting human being at all. So how do we deal with someone who's inherently an energy vampire? How many of you feel like you have someone who's inherently an energy vampire in your life? So how do we deal with someone who's inherently an energy vampire, right? My guru taught me the best way to do this is to practice the art of being affectionately detached, but always kind, gentle, sincere, and loving towards them. What does this mean? So just say John is inherently an energy vampire. I live in New York City. I'm walking down Fifth Avenue. I see John walking towards me. What do? Do I cross the street? That's not very nice. I meet John. John meets me. What do you say when two people meet each other? Do you know why I don't ask, how are you? Because I don't want to know. John asks me, how are you? I say, I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. And then I reply, what a beautiful day. I'm being sincere. I'm being kind. And then I say to him, please excuse me, I have something really important to do. It's true, my life is finite, and I'm very clear what my purpose is. And then what do people say at the end of a conversation? It was a pleasure meeting you. Actually, it wasn't. Let's do lunch. Why? See you later. Not really, don't want to. Why do we say the things we don't mean and ask the questions we don't want answers to? So at the end of a conversation, I say, have a wonderful day. Which is true. I know he's inherently an energy vampire, but I do wish he has a wonderful day. So the concept of being affectionately detached is to not engage with someone, right? Just to be kind, to be gentle, to be sincere and loving towards them, but not engaging with them. What's another way to protect yourself from an energy vampire? Is to place the burden of responsibility on them. What does that mean? I'll give you an example. I have a client of mine who's an expert in social media. Right, so a lot of people want to get together with him, have a cup of coffee, a glass of wine. Let's catch up for lunch. Let's do dinner. Why? Because they want to pick his brain and get information from him. And he can't sustain this because everybody wants a little bit of his time and just can't live this way. So I told him, this is what you need to do. You need to tell this person who wants to meet with you to read your favorite marketing book. Read your favorite marketing book, write down 7 key points and email it to you. Once you receive the 7 key points from the book, tell them that you want to see what stands out to them in the book. Once you receive these 7 key points, you email them and say, let's meet up on this day for a couple hours and we can discuss a marketing strategy for you. You know how many people actually read the book and email him the 7 key points? Nobody. As soon as you place the burden of responsibility on someone, they don't do it. I travel all around the world. I speak, people come up to me and they want to ask questions. I always give them my personal email address. I tell them, please don't share it with anybody. Can you put your question down on this email and send it to me? One, it'll give me time to reflect on it and I can give you a proper response. And they always say, for sure, I'll put it all down in email, I'll send it to you. You know how many people email me? Nobody emails me. Simple little task, right? I'm not asking them to do yoga, to meditate, to breathe out of one nostril. You just send me an email with your problems and they don't do it. So place the burden of responsibility on someone. If you're somebody who's developed a particular skill, you're an expert in a particular niche, in a particular area, and you find that people want your time, they want your energy, the one simple way to protect yourself is to place the burden of responsibility on them. Give them a simple task to do and see if they do it. And if they fulfill that task and come back to you, then go out of your way to help them. Another thing I want to talk about is mental energy vampires. What's a mental energy vampire? Mental energy vampire is unresolved emotional experiences that are sitting in our subconscious. Most people's subconscious mind looks like this Indian flower market. It's just packed with stuff because people don't resolve stuff as they go through life, right? Everything that is once passed through your conscious mind in the form of experience is resident in your subconscious mind, and all these experiences have emotion attached to them. One simple way to deal with unresolved emotional experiences is to do this exercise called the Vasana Daha Tantra. That's the Sanskrit name for it. And what it really is to take a piece of paper and write down the problem on it. Every experience has emotion attached to it. And I want to share with you a quote from Tesla, which I think really encapsulates the philosophy that I believe in or that I was trained in the monastery. Tesla says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Everything is made up of energy and it's vibrating at a certain frequency. So if I have an experience, it has emotion attached to it, it's vibrating in my subconscious mind. My goal is, I can't do anything about the experience because it's already happened, but what I can do to help myself is to remove the emotion that's attached to experience. So I take a piece of paper, I write down the problem. As I write down the problem, something really interesting happens. That experience moves from my subconscious mind to my conscious mind because I'm reliving it. The interesting thing that happens is the energy, the emotion actually comes out of the experience, flows through my hands into the piece of paper.
We can get as much done now in a day as we used to get done in a week. Efficiency, skills, knowledge, awareness, practice, getting better. All of that value we can bring to the marketplace, bring to the job. And that's where the real time management comes in. I found out that a normal day is enough time. 8 hours, 10 hours, 5 days, 6 days. That's enough time. The rest of it now has got to be the best use of that time. There's a movement going on now in the workplace. The movement is people setting up home offices, telecommuting to work, working at home and communicating with the office through fax machines and computers and modems and delivery services. People are even starting to work in one state and live in another. They don't need to be at the office all the time. For some jobs, they don't need to be at the office at all. And guess what some of these folks find out? The projects that used to take 2 days, they get done in a few hours. Why? Because they have no distractions. No people stopping by their office to chat. No unsolicited phone calls to take. No unexpected visitors to deal with. When they work, they work. When they play, they play. Now, not everybody has the luxury of having a job that can work like this, but maybe some of the same principles can be applied at the office, like do not disturb times, like scheduling your day so that you're totally undisturbed during those hours in which you complete your best work.